Your Home Assistant dashboard tells you what's happening in your home, but does it actually catch your eye when something needs your attention? Those static tiles are easy to ignore, but a glowing icon, a pulsing alert, or a spinning ring, well, that's something you'll certainly notice. In this video, I'm going to show you 10 animated dashboard cards that I've built using just the standard mushroom cards and card mod. Each one is designed for a specific use case, keeps in with the default Home Assistant styling, and won't slow down your dashboard. Whether it's an open door, a running backup, or a timer that's just hit 0, there's an animation here that fits right in. Hey everyone, my name's Simon and welcome to Byte of Geek, a channel that's all about Home Assistant and smart home technology. So I've been playing around with animating dashboard cards recently, specifically the standard mushroom cards. It all started with a couple of cards that I wanted to add to my dashboard, making them a bit more visual, and out of that I've ended up creating 10 in total so far. In creating these, I really wanted to achieve 3 things. I wanted something that was keeping in line with the standard styling, I didn't want anything super flashy, and I didn't want to make the cards code heavy. And whilst these are suggested use cases, the animations can be quite easily used or even combined for many different things. So to use any of the examples I'm going to show you now, you're going to need to have card mod installed in Home Assistant, and you can do that via the Home Assistant Community Store, also known as Hacks. I've got a video on the channel taking you through this, and I'll link that in the description below. Other than that, these all just use the standard mushroom cards that you have available, so it keeps it nice and lightweight for your dashboards. So what we've got here then are the different card animations that I've created. There's 10 in total so far, and as you can see, I've paired them with likely use cases, and they work equally as well on the horizontal layout as they do on the vertical layout. All of them use card mod in some way, and they're all configurable depending on the device attributes you have available. As I mentioned, they all just use the standard mushroom cards. So for example, this one uses the template card, and then we've got others that use the light or the entity card. So if I just quickly go through what we've got then, first we've got one for when doors or windows are open. Then we've got one for when a switch is turned on. Next, we've got one for a running process, such as a backup. Then we've got one for when lights are switched on, another one for timers, we've got one for when appliances are running, we've got one for calendar events, another for when a room is being heated, we've got a current weather conditions one, and finally we've got one for a CO2 sensor. Now, when I created these, I just wanted something that would fit in with my existing dashboard style. I didn't want code heavy cards that might bog down the rendering the dashboard, and I wanted them to be simple to maintain or even adapt for other uses. So let's take a walk through each of these examples so that you can see how they work and how you can configure them. Starting off with the door card then, and this is using a group helper in which I have all of my doors that have sensors on them. When I open a door, then the door icon simply changes to a glowing red bell to indicate that one of those is reporting being open, and when it's closed it just goes back to the regular icon. Very simple to use. If you want to use it with Windows or anything else in a group that returns a count, then you just swap the group name over. Next is one for a switch, and I did this because I think the switch is a little boring when it's on a tile on the dashboard. With this one, you get a disappearing ring pulsing from the center to the outside edge. You can set the icon to whatever color you want, and the ring will honor that color, as you can see with the 2 cards on the dashboard. As it's using the entity card, it's easy to set up and you can adjust the styling according to your needs. But there isn't much else to change on this one unless your plug returns some weird state when it's switched on. The next one is for when you've got something like a backup running or some other type of running process, and this is just a visual indicator for that. So for me, I have the backup manager on one of my dashboards, and when a backup starts, then as you can see, this then gets an animated line running across the bottom of the card. It's using the mushroom entity card, so you just specify the entity you want for your process. The important thing with this one is that you need to specify the state of the entity when the process is running. For the backups in Home Assistant, that state is create backup. So it will animate the card when that is detected, and when the process is complete, then the card just returns back to normal. Now the next one is for lighting, and this uses the mushroom light card, and with this you get a nice glow effect when the light's switched on. It uses the color of the light, and it's relative to the brightness levels you have the light set to. With the brightness at 25%, it's quite subtle, but when you get up to 100%, then it's a bit more evident. You can use this one just by specifying the entity, but if you want to change any of the styling, then it gets a little bit more complicated, as you have settings for the opacity, the spread, and the intensity, as well as the color. So the next one is for something that is for timers, and this is perfect for things like medication reminders or even just general reminders. Whilst the timer is running, it will just display a static alarm icon, but when the timer reaches 0, then it turns red and starts swinging side to side. And all you have to do with this one is specify the name of the timer that you're using. Next, and we've got one for something where you're able to determine the power draw. So in my example here, it's a washing machine on a smart plug, and with this you get a spinning circle around it that will get slower or faster according to the power draw. The YAML for this card is quite simple. You're just specifying the switch entity that the appliance is on, and then there's a sensor trigger in the configuration YAML file that will change the rotation speed according to the power draw. This is the main area for change here, as you'll need to change the values according to what your appliance is using. But as you can see, as the more power is used, then the circle goes faster, and then it slows down again as less power is used. If you enjoy this kind of smart home content, then why not hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss my next video. But next on the list is one that ties into the calendar. And in normal use, it just displays a static calendar icon. But as soon as an event is active, then it starts swinging side to side and alternating with an alert icon. And it also displays the name of the event in the tile as well. As soon as the event is over, then it'll return back to the calendar icon. This one needs a little bit of a template config in your configuration YAML file. And of course, you'll need to specify your calendar that you want to use. Now, this next one is more just an aesthetic thing, really. If you've got your heating system integrated with Home Assistant, then with this, you can have a card that will display, in this case, a radiator, which will be off when the heating is off. But when it's on, then it will alternate between two different radiator icons with an animated glow effect, giving basically the impression of the heating being on. You only need specify the entity for the climate device that controls the heating in that room, and that's it. Next on the list then, and if you're after a super minimalistic weather card, then this one might just be that. This one gives you an animated and colored icon according to the weather condition that's provided by your weather provider, along with the current temperature. Again, you only need provide your weather entity to get this one working, and it maps the weather conditions to icons, which you can change if required. And there's some settings there as well for the color of the icon according to the weather, which again, you can change those as well. Finally, we have one for a CO2 detector or a similar kind of device, and this one displays the CO2 icon, which if the reading is within normal range, then it'll just be green. But as the reading increases, then it'll turn to amber with a slow pulse, and finally, when it's at a high level, then it turns red with a faster pulse. With this one, there's just a couple of things to change. One is the entity you want to use, and the second is the definition of the ranges. So the default is up to 800 for low, up to 1200 for medium, and high is anything above that. You also have the humidity and temperature levels displayed on the card, and if your sensor doesn't provide those, then you might want to remove one or both. So that's it. Those are some of the animated cards and icons that I've been building into my Home Assistant dashboards, adding some nice animations while still keeping them in line with the general styling of Home Assistant. Hopefully you can use them in your dashboards, or even take them and modify them into something else entirely. I'm going to put all of the YAML for these on my GitHub repository, and over time I'll no doubt create more and add them there as well. You can find the link to that repository in the description of this video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.